So in this video, I'm going to be talking to you about how to defend yourself against oppression. We may have experienced oppression since childhood at various levels of life, including family, school, dating or relationship, job, even in business sometimes, where a few people try to start controlling you and start oppressing you. So I'm going to be revealing strategies that you can use to defend yourself against people who try to oppress you, control you, make you do things you don't want to do, and how do you defend yourself and actually have an action plan to reverse their effect on you and set yourself free. And I believe entrepreneurship is a true act of defiance against oppression and suppression of who you are. And when somebody decides to be an entrepreneur, when you decide to be an entrepreneur, you are taking a stand that you're not going to be messed with, that you're not going to be oppressed, you're not going to be controlled, and you're the one who's going to be in command. So if you have taken that decision, then this video is for you, and this video will help you defend yourself, give you a framework to defend yourself against anybody who's trying to oppress you. And again, as I said, this could even happen in dating and relationships, where sex as a commodity is being used to manipulate and control you, to gain favors, and to ultimately lead to an exploitative relationships. So it's not just at the workplace, even at home, internally, there could be several people who could be trying to oppress you. So I'm going to help you identify, provide you a framework and a strategy on how to get out of it. Okay, so let's get started. Step number 1 is going to be for you to check yourself. Oppression can be of two forms. One is covert, where somebody tries to physically oppress you, and that's fairly easy to defend yourself against because it's more covert. There are laws against it, and that's easy to deal with. But the ones that you and I mostly come across is a more covert form of oppression, where somebody makes a request and at the end of the request, there is an undertone of a threat that if you don't do this, they're gonna impose a consequence on you that's gonna cause you a lot of pain or loss. And as a result, you find yourself helplessly doing what this person wants you to do. And they're kind of pulling your strings a little bit. So these are more covert forms of oppression that are more dangerous, in my opinion. So we're going to talk about how do you identify that this is happening. Because when this happens, it's not that the systems in your brain go, okay, I'm now being oppressed. It's just that you start acting to please the person in front of you without knowing that you're doing it. And you just feel this uncomfortable feeling that you're being dragged into something that you don't want to go in. It manifests itself in a form of a feeling or a ill experience, a bad experience, a negative experience, a nasty experience. It's just a feeling of sourness, a feeling of bitterness that you may experience when this happens. And it's very subtle. It's kind of like a drop of poison. Some people call it poison dripping, when somebody's trying to poison drip you. So it's very subtle, but what you would notice is that over a couple of minutes or a couple of hours, your emotional state is going to crash, and you're going to start to experience a loss of power, or you're going to start to experience feeling drained or loss of energy. You will start to experience like you're not able to you've lost power from your body. And when you have this experience that a rug is being pulled from under your feet, or the ground has disappeared under your feet, and you don't have power in your body, consider you're under a spell, and consider someone has just attacked you. Someone is trying to exploit you. Someone is trying to access the power that you have and using your body like a puppet. And that's when it happens. That's how you feel it. So if you feel this sort of sudden change of mood, sudden change of weather, that's the first sign that you have to look at. Okay, This is not a coincidence. This is not, it's not just a feeling. Something just happened. Somebody said something or mocked at you, or somebody was whispering something in somebody else's ear, and you saw it, and you know that they were talking about you, and they're trying to conspire, and essentially you're under attack. And you're going to soon be controlled. You know it. Your sensors just went off and provided a signal to your brain that something's not right. And that sign is not to be ignored. That sign is a signal that you're going to be either oppressed or being oppressed. Okay? So, in my experience, you have to take that very seriously. When you have a state crash, or when there is a disruption in your position, disturbance, any kind of disturbance in your mental state is a sign, an indication of oppression. So that's the first diagnosis. So you got to identify the experience. You have to really be in touch with yourself and really look within yourself how you feel. How do you feel? And you may be experiencing it, it's possible, for such a long time that thing has become a default. So you are not detecting it. You think this is normal. You think maybe everybody feels the same way, feels like this, and this is just how it feels to be alive. But that's not the case. I want you to question the ill feeling that you get, not just accept it and tolerate it. And that's another thing I'm going to get into, is tolerance. When you just tolerate it and you just accept it as a kind of part of life. So first step is identification. Second is you want to identify the person. You want to write down the name of every environment that you're part of. At home, who is there? Family, maybe a girlfriend. When you go to the office, who are the people there? When you come back home, maybe you hang out with your friends right now. Maybe that's what you do. Write the names there. And so on. Once you have your entire environment mapped out, start circling people out that you feel that give you kind of an ill feeling. They always have something to give you, some work to give you, some task to give you that really doesn't benefit you, but you still find yourself doing what they want you to do. It could even be your girlfriend kind of making this soft, manipulative and innocent face, or maybe victimizing herself, and all of these are tactics of oppression where they use guilt to manipulate you. Even manipulation is a form of oppression. So I want you to even write those ones where the person is not doing it covertly, kind of like a bully, but doing it, not doing it overtly, but doing it covertly. It's like an undertone. But just notice this ill feeling that people give you and write their names. And then the third aspect of detection is the tactics that they use. It could be soft manipulation. It could be threats. It could be gaining leverage on you by providing you with some value that you need, that may have perceived scarcity. Classic example is sex, where a woman makes you believe that she's the best that you can do, and she is above you and you are below her, and she is an 8 or a 9 and you're a 5 or a 6, and you're not going to be able to replace her. And the sex with her is extremely rare thing in your life. And as a result, you need to do these list of things. If you don't do it, I'm going to pull the plug because I can replace you and you can't replace me. So that's what a dynamic within a sexual context looks like. Office, example could be the boss, which makes you feel that you're not worth anything. Actually, if you leave the office, you're not going to be able to find a job, and you don't really have that many talents, and you're just not good for anything. But because the boss is so compassionate, they're doing a favor keeping you because you need the job. So you wouldn't have gotten this job, but because the boss is giving you this job, you have this job. But if you went out into the market, actually you wouldn't even survive and you may go to the streets. So these are perceived scarcity. It's not true. It's just a narrative. It's just a manipulation. It's just a fairy dust, trying to put the curtain over your eye to fool you. And then exploitation begins when the narrative is established, right? So, You want to identify these patterns, these tactics in your environment. Okay. The next thing that you want to notice is that what is the commodity that these people control? When somebody has power over you, they typically have something that you want, or they typically have something that you value, but you don't have, and you have no way of getting. So they have convinced you that they are the sole person that they can deliver this to you. So it causes dependency. It causes this helpless dependency, this feeling of this helpless dependency. This person has called me. I need to just be there on time. Just have to be there. This person, and you don't want to lose that person. That's a clear sign where the person has power and they are pulling you in their direction and dragging you in their direction. So what is it that they have? It could be sex, it could be resources, it could be money, it could be skills, it could be information, it could be any of these things. But some commodity that is rare, that you think only they can provide. And they're satisfying something in you that you think and believe that you can't get from somebody else. So what I'm really getting at here is that scarcity drives this kind of behavior. Somebody has convinced you that what they're doing for you is very scarce, and you have scarcity of something. You tend to have, you will tend to subject to oppressive behaviors. If you think that something that you're getting is scarce from them, that's when you will accept oppression, because where else are you going to get it, right? That's the argument. But the truth is, anything is rarely truly scarce in this world. This world has a lot of abundance, and whatever you're getting from one person, you could get from another person. You could get another job which is high paying. You could get a more attractive partner. You could get a better of anything in almost all scenarios. So it's important to kind of show yourself that you can find other options. So if you have an oppressive girlfriend, the good idea would be to start talking to other girls, just in a friendly manner, start establishing contact, and you may find that a much prettier girl than her is also giving you attention, and boom, the spell is going to break. Another example with the job environment is that you may start applying for jobs at a much higher position and you may get it, right? The moment you get another offer that's higher than what you're currently getting, there's going to be a break in spell. This oppression can even happen from parents. Maybe your mother cooks for you. In my case, that happened to be the case. So she had a spell on me because of food. I taught myself how to cook just to break that spell, and boom, it was broken. So there are these various tactics where something that they're doing for you. In the case of my mother, it was food. In the case of a girl, it was sex. And in the case of a job market, it's money or a salary or a package that you think is, the best that you can get. But if you just ask more people, you will get better offers and the spells would break, right? So you have to identify the commodity at play in that relationship. What's the commodity? And there's always a commodity. It could even be entertainment. The person tells amazing jokes and you're addicted to being around this person because the person makes you laugh or whatever it is, right? So commodity could be tangible or intangible, but you've got to identify the commodity that you think is really that scarce, and just go to a place or expose yourself to situations where that thing that you're after is in abundance, and you're going to experience a break in spell. This happened when I was building a board, that the moment one person said yes to me, I was like, oh my God, I didn't think I could get the CEO of such a big company to be my business partner. And I was under a spell of this guy who was a CEO of a GCC-based healthcare group. And this person, I just didn't want to lose this person, because this person had media attention, and this person was a CEO of one of the largest healthcare groups in GCC, and I felt like, I'm never going to be able to find someone better than this. And I had convinced myself about this narrative, and I had scarcity because I didn't have a skill I was still building a skill. So I thought this is the best I could get. But soon enough, I did 50 to 100 more presentations, and I got far bigger heavy hitters than him. And suddenly this guy started to look like a small guy, no big deal. And the spell was broken. So scarcity is, you can defend yourself against scarcity through abundance. It's opposite, right? And that happens through exposure. If you expose yourself to better opportunities, you will find that the spell would break and the person would lose control. And something happens when the spell gets broken. Let's say it's your girlfriend, and maybe you got attention of a much more attractive girl, and you know that you could do this every day and you could keep getting attention from much more attractive girls. Something in the way you stand, something in your voice is going to shift, which is going to communicate that the spell is broken. And just the way you hold your body in front of this person is going to communicate a sense of boundary. It's going to communicate a sense of intolerance, not tolerance, intolerance, that you're not going to tolerate whatever they're saying. Could be a look in your eye, and they know that you have a walk away power. And I'd never want to enter into a situation where I don't have the walk away power. You always want to have the walk away power. I don't care how amazing the opportunity is, how amazing the girl is. You always want, or the job or whatever it is, you always want the power to walk away. Otherwise, you cannot have a healthy relationship. You always want to be able to walk away. Always. And that happens when you have a lot of options and choices. And this is where really money comes into the picture. Money plays an important role. If you have money, there are so many maneuvers that you can do. And if you don't have access to money, just do more presentations, right? And go for higher offers for jobs, or hire clients, higher paying clients, increase your prices, whatever you have to do to get more money. You could do that through exposure. Again, abundance covers up for scarcity. So you want to put yourself not just in a mental state of abundance, but actually expose yourself to abundance of options, which almost always means more presentations in front of more people and asking for more. That's really what it means. So when you have the money, you have power, you have choices. If you don't like a neighborhood, you can move. If your girlfriend really cooks really good food and she wants to leave you, and you're going to be like, how am I going to eat? You could get a chef, right? There are so many maneuvers that are possible because of money. Then money gives you that power, that groundedness of, just walking away. Fuck you. That's why they call it fuck you money. That I don't give a shit what you have to offer. I'm just going to walk away. I don't care. So you want that, and money plays an important role. So if your finances are low, just do more presentations, increase your income, and you'll have that. So these are some of the strategies. And sometimes when you're in a spell of someone, once you've identified the commodity, once you've identified the person, once you've identified the feelings that you experience when you're being oppressed and controlled, and you have the walk away power, that's when the spell is broken. That's when you can reverse the oppressive tactics. Now, it may take you time to actually carry out your plan. And you may have to sort of separate yourself and distance yourself from that person. You may even have to make an excuse to separate yourself and just engage in a thought process. You could do this on your note, in your notes. You can just write the names of the people and see, okay, in which situations do I feel comfortable? Which one of these persons make me feel uncomfortable? And you can go through this process. What is the commodity they control? Why do I think that this commodity is in scarcity? Can I have better options? What exactly do I want? And, how long is it going to take me to strategize and source this from someplace else? And how can I restructure this process and break the spell? So sometimes it can take time. Sometimes you don't have a walkaway power. Sometimes you can't defend yourself, but you can put a plan in place and you can do it over time. And you can put yourself in a position, and the moment you're in a position, the spell breaks, you ask the person to fuck off, you walk off from that oppressive situation, and you're out into freedom and power, right? So that's the video on how to deal with and defend yourself against oppression. This is not just something that you and I deal with personally. Nations deal with this. Countries deal with this. There are books written on it. This is the genesis of war. War is a defense against oppression. When the army is coming, you don't have any intention to fight, but you have a kingdom. You have something that you value. In this case, it's you, your mind, your body, your environment. That's your kingdom. And there is an intruder coming in your space. And this person's intention is to control what you have. The body, the mind, in this case, yourself, your environment, whatever it is that you have, they want to control this through you. So they're entering into the kingdom. If you don't have a fortress to protect yourself, which is your boundary, and if you don't have a defense mechanism, which is really the art of war, and how are you going to defend yourself against these forces, they're going to take control. So nations deal with this. That's why they invest in defense technology. And you have to also put some thought into it, that what is the weakness? Where are the vulnerabilities in your life? Where are things in your life that are in scarcity? How can you flip that scarcity into abundance? And again, as I mentioned, the solution is almost always more presentations and more exposure to that commodity is going to break that spell, and you're going to be free. So that's the video for today on how to defend yourself against oppression. I hope that helps. Let me know what you think in the comment section, and I'll talk to you soon.